Hello everyone, welcome to enComply product demonstration. As we all know, GST rollout date is fast approaching and some of the recent stats state that 1 crore businesses are expected to register under GST. With the clock ticking and not much time left for all the businesses, they will be seeking help from the TRPs and the CFOs. So this will be a big time opportunity for all the TRPs and CS out there. And you need to be ready to handle more clients and grow your business. So leverage the power of GST compliance automation. Udyog brings you enComply, which is a complete end-to-end GST compliance solution which will help you manage your growing clients base with ease. In this video, we will be demonstrating you how tax return preparers and tax practitioners can process and file returns for their clients. So let us understand the case of a TRP. Mr. Jitesh is a tax return preparer. He runs a firm JVM Consultants which is located in Mumbai, and JVM Consultants has been serving more than 570 clients. JVM Consultants are acting as a tax consulting partner to various companies. Few of the companies are Bharat Steel Limited, Rahul Dairy, JK Chemicals and many more. JVM Consultants plans to onboard many more clients in the current GST regime. With a huge increase in the customer base, Mr. Jitendra has lots of challenges to overcome. Let us look at the challenges. Firstly, the number of returns to be filed in the GST regime has considerably gone up. With more than 500 clients, JVM Consultants may have to file almost 500 into 2 into 3, that is 3000 returns, assuming all the companies are located at only 2 locations. If the companies were to be located at more than 3 or 5 locations, then the returns would reach up to 10,000. So it will be very difficult for JVM to handle such load. The second challenge which JVM is facing is difficulty to centrally manage all his clients from one place. As JVM plans to onboard many more clients, managing more than 800 to 1000 clients offline is going to be very difficult. So JVM needs an automated solution and a single dashboard from which he can manage and he can file returns for his clients. And the third difficulty is dealing with multiple data formats of different clients. We all know that each customer and each enterprise uses his own ERP system. The source system can range from Tally, SAP, Oracle EBS, JD Edwards, Microsoft Accepta and so on. The list goes on until 200 different popular ERP systems. Now, dealing with such diversity is going to be very difficult for JVM. The fourth challenge is the 5-day limited window period which is provided to perform amendments and reconciliations. One can imagine with such a huge client base and huge volumes of data, performing reconciliation on a case-to-case basis and doing amendments for this large volume of data is going to be a humongous task. This definitely calls for automation. Though GSTN is providing data which can be used to perform reconciliations, we need an automated system which will help the user to compare and perform mismatches to be able to correct and file the returns. And the fifth challenge is exchange of the sensitive data between the clients. In the current practice, all the sales and purchase data and all the sensitive data which is related to business is being shared over emails. But in the upcoming GST regime, which calls for all invoice level information to be filed in GSTN, there will be bulk volumes of data which will be shared over emails. And managing this collaboratively, where users can share data between workflows and send it further for approvals and review will be very difficult. And the final challenge is managing notices and notifications of different clients at one go. GSTN will be sending notices to individual clients in case of discrepancies in the data, and the client expects the consultant to help him resolve the issues and reply on time to the notices raised. So Mr. Jitesh needs a proper system where he can handle all these notices received per client. enComply is the most advanced end-to-end GST solution which can enable Mr. Jitesh to overcome all the challenges. And the icing on the cake, it is very easy to use. So let us see how enComply helps Mr. Jitesh to overcome these challenges and successfully run his business. enComply is a complete collaborative cloud platform. It can be accessed from anywhere in the world with just a browser and an internet connection. So Mr. Jitesh from JVM Consultant doesn't need to do any setup from on his side, but he just needs a browser to start processing data and filing returns using enComply. So let's see how Mr. Jitesh can process taxes for all his clients from a single window. JVM Consultant has its own organization code, so all the users and team members of Mr. Jitesh can log in using the organization code and their own credentials. So this will help the tax analyst users to process data, and finally the tax managers and the compliance managers of JVM Consultants will be able to approve the returns for each of its clients. JVM Consultants can additionally extend this cloud platform to its clients and request them to upload data directly onto the system. So their clients can log in using their own credentials and they can upload the data and they can share the access to JVM Consultants. Once the data is received by JVM Consultants, the tax analysts and the tax managers will be able to process and file the returns for their clients. Now I am going to log in as Mr. Jitesh. Mr. Jitesh is the admin user for JVM Consultants. So he is able to see different menu options on his screen. Based on the role of the user who has logged in, the menu screens gets populated. In case the user has limited access to JVM Consultants company, only limited menus will be available. Currently on the screen you can see that Mr. Jitesh has access to event calendar management. He also has access to roles and permissions module. Additionally, he can manage locations for the company. He can manage his partners. He can manage different users and the organization details. Now, if Mr. Jitesh wants to have a look at what all different clients he has been serving, he can just click on this drop down and he can go to find organization to see the different clientele. All the clients will be listed in this window and it will be easier for Mr. Jitesh to quickly search for a client and he can start processing GST returns for them. So Bharat Steel Limited, which is the client of Mr. Jitesh, is located at a place Delhi. So Mr. Jitesh can file returns for the complete group or he can file at that particular location. So let me select Bharat Steel Limited Delhi. He will be able to process GST returns by selecting the application that has been subscribed to that particular company. The same platform can be additionally used for various other taxes. Taxes like TDS, VAT and excise have been already automated on this platform. So JVM Consultants can subscribe specific taxes to their clients. In this demonstration, as our focus is more on GST, I will be selecting and processing GST returns for Bharat Steel Limited. Now, on the screen you can see that JVM Consultants is processing GST returns for Bharat Steel Limited. The UI is very simple and easy to use. It will only prompt with the options that are required, and this will ensure that the user will not be confused and he will only take the action that is necessary. For filing GST returns, we need both the sales and purchase data. Sales data is nothing but the outward transactions and the purchase data is the inward transactions. Additionally, we will be needing ITC ledger and cash ledger to be able to process GST returns and generate the ITC that is available. Before proceeding further, let us understand how GST returns processing works on enComply. It's a simple 3-step process where the user needs to upload and transform the data, and next he has to process and qualify it to ensure it is error free, and finally he can file and generate returns and various reports. Let's look at this process happening live with the product. As GSTR1 is the first return to be filed in every month, that is 10th of every month, let's start with outward transactions. So GSTR1 requires the sales data, which is the outward transactions. So the user can either upload the data or he can use the automated integration option to be able to synchronize data from his source systems. You can extend enComply access to your customer and their IT teams will be able to do a one-time integration of their source system to enComply. You can offer customer various data connectors for their source systems. They can choose from the different integration options that are available. They can either choose the secure FTP option or they can choose the real-time web service based integration options. If we go into detail of the secure FTP options, a scheduler can be set up to capture the invoice transaction data either at the end of the day or weekly or by monthly, depending on the business operations. The user can also choose to schedule it for every 15 minutes. Once the scheduler is set up, the trigger runs and enComply will capture the data automatically from the source system. Once the data is captured into enComply, the team members of JVM consultants will receive alerts about the captured data and they can start processing it. They will be able to start viewing the data in the completed process. Alternatively, if the enterprise or the client doesn't want to integrate and he wants to share raw data dumps, it can very well be handled on enComply. The customer will be able to do a manual upload of data by clicking on new process, or even JVM consultant users can help their clients upload the data. They can receive the data dump file offline and they can directly come to the new process and upload the raw data files. Users will be able to upload any kind of data from any source system. The formats supported are Excel, CSV, JSON, XML, TXT and more. The structure of the file also need not be in a predefined format. The client has the freedom to generate his own format and enComply is equipped to consume any standard ERP formats. In this current demonstration, we are using a raw CSV tally data file to upload. So here we have generated outward transactions and the bank has received transactions from tally, and I am going to upload a raw CSV file for this demo. Even if your customer is using Busy or QAD or any other ERP source system, you can use the data converters that are available on enComply and you can start uploading the data. So let us start uploading the outward transaction details. Here I will be uploading the data related to 1 month, that is January. For processing GSTR1, I am uploading the GST outward transaction data. When I click on initiate, the data gets uploaded. And you can see the data is successfully uploaded into the system. The beauty of the system is when the data is uploaded, the system automatically applies some rules and it checks for the consistency in the data. If there are any issues in the data, that will be quickly reported on the screen. On the left hand side, you can see there is some issue in the outward transaction data. That is the reason you are seeing a cross mark. Let us go into the details of the error. This particular record, which is highlighted in red, has some issue. You can additionally filter out all the error records by selecting error records option, and you can see that this is one record. There is one record which is having some issue with it. Let us open and go into the details of the error. A system like this will help you easily manage huge volumes of data. If your customer data has 10,000 records and if 1,000 of those records are having issues, it will be very difficult for you to manage and correct those errors. But using enComply, you can see that the errors are clearly described. What is the kind of issue that the data has? And with this kind of description, you will be easily able to edit and correct the data within a matter of minutes. This particular transaction is an interstate transaction. For an interstate transaction, CGST amount should be 0. So let us quickly correct this transaction and go further. I have corrected the data. Let us click on process data to ensure the rules are executed again. Now you can see the data is clean and corrected. Let us go ahead and upload the other data that is required. I am selecting on new process, and here I am selecting bank as receipt transactions. So this data is good. We don't have any errors in this data. Once the data is uploaded, now we can go ahead to the next step, that is processing the data. To start processing for GSTR1 returns, select on new process, and you will be presented with the return filing selection screen. Here you need to select the month range for which the data has been uploaded. This particular screen becomes important as we all know, GST will take some time to get stabilized and the rules might keep changing. So for suppose, if you want to file data for a older date range, and enComply ensures that the right rules are applied to the right data. If you are performing an amendment to the older data, enComply automatically picks the rules that are applicable to the older date range and it applies to that data. So here, now currently as I have uploaded data related to Jan month, I have selected January and the return year as 2016. Once you click on submit, the data from the previous step is transformed into the required GSTN format. So on the left hand side you can see the data has been categorized into 13 to 14 different entities. Each entity or the data has been bucketed into different types of transactions. The data that we uploaded contains B2B transactions and B2C transactions and so on. The data has been categorized into different entities based on some logic. enComply applies some business logic to identify the different categories of data. For suppose, how a B2B transaction is identified. In a B2B transaction, both the parties have a GSTIN. In case if only one party has a GSTIN, it is identified as a B2C transaction. B2C transactions are further classified into B2C large and B2C small. So the difference between a large and small transaction as per the GST law is a large transaction is a transaction which has taxable value more than 2,50,000. So in this particular bucket, that is B2CL, you can see all the transactions are having taxable values greater than 2,50,000. When you move to B2C small, these are having transaction taxable value less than 2,50,000. Similarly, many other different business logics have been applied and the data has been segregated into the required GSTN format. Let us update the required details in the General Details tab and proceed further. Once you update the general details, you can save and confirm. And enComply provides you validation option. When you click on the validate button, lots of rules, place of supply rules, computation logic rules and data validation rules are applied onto the data, and in case if there are any missing data or any discrepancies in the data, the system throws an error and the user will be prompted with the exact description of the error and he will be able to easily correct it. So let us run the validations. Whenever you perform an action in enComply, the system asks you to enter the comments. So these comments will be used for audit trial. We have workflow level audit trial and also the record level audit trial. Here you can see once I clicked on validate, I was successfully able to move through the first 3 steps of the workflow. This particular workflow stages can be assigned to individual users of the team. One IT user can be made responsible for loading of data, and the second step of capturing and validating the data can be assigned to a tax user who can apply some rules, and he will be able to enter the missing data and he will also be able to correct the data in these 2 steps. Later, you can assign the review approval workflow step to the manager level users. So this is how the users can collaborate and work as a team to deliver services to the end clients. So finally, as the data looks good, now I'm going to accept this particular workflow, and after the acceptance we will be able to generate and view GSTR1 annexure reports. Once this step is accepted, you can download the GSTR1 HTML reports. These reports are both printable and viewable. So this is the GSTR1 annexure as prescribed by the government. This contains all the details of the transactions that have been uploaded. So once this is done, you can move to the next step, that is filing of GSTR returns. So the output of this step is a clean data. So once the data is cleansed and free of errors, you can directly go and file the returns. So for filing the returns, it is a simple 3-step process. You just need to select the month for which you want to file the returns and click on submit. Here you have all the auto-filled details, and you need to e-sign it to finally file the returns. So let us complete the e-sign process. Let us key in the Aadhaar number to complete the e-sign process. Once you key in the Aadhaar number, we need to save and confirm. When you save and confirm, the system generates an OTP and it will be sent to your registered mobile number. So let us key in the OTP. After you key in the OTP, you again save and confirm. Here you can see the OTP has been validated and a signed text has been returned by the GSTN Common Portal. Once this is done, you can directly go ahead and file the GSTR1 returns to generate the transaction ID and complete the filing process. Here you can see the acknowledgement number has been received from GSTN and the data has been successfully filed. So this is how you complete the GSTR1 filing process. It's quite simple and very easy to use on enComply. Let us move ahead and process GSTR2 to see how amendments and reconciliations can be performed. Now let us upload inward transaction data to process GSTR2. Let me quickly upload the required transaction details. And all the necessary input files like bank cash payments and GST ISD, inward transactions and TDS certificates. Now the data has been successfully uploaded into the system. We can move ahead to the next step of filing GSTR2. We can move to the next step of processing GSTR2. Clicking on new process, we need to go through the same procedure of selecting the return year and month. Now the data gets pulled from the previous step to this step. Similar to GSTR1, in GSTR2 also the data is formatted and transformed into the required GSTN format. It is bucketed into various transactions based on the transaction type. Before moving ahead to perform the reconciliations, let us understand how reconciliation works in the new GST system. Bharat Steel has customers and also the suppliers. A, B, C are its customers, XYZ are its vendors. By 10th of every month, both Bharat Steel and XYZ have to upload data. That is, all the vendors have to upload their sales related information to GSTN portal. So they file GSTR1. Now you can see Bharat Steel has uploaded 12, 24, 33, 40 invoices and XYZ have uploaded 34, 7 and 4. But you can notice that X had made two transactions, that is invoice number 34 and invoice number 20, but only has uploaded invoice number 34. It has missed uploading the invoice number 20. When Bharat Steel downloads GSTR2A from 11th of every month, it only receives 34, 7 and 4 as part of GSTR2A. So when Bharat Steel compares GSTR2A, which is the government's version of Bharat Steel purchases, with the purchases that it has generated, it realizes that 20 invoice was missed by one of its vendor. So now Bharat Steel will have a chance to perform the reconciliation and they can amend the returns and file GSTR2 by 15th. So once GSTR2 is filed, it's Bharat Steel's vendor X will be able to compare GSTR1A and he will acknowledge that he has missed invoice number 20 and he can either accept or reject it. Like this, they complete this cycle and finally they will be able to file GSTR3 and generate the ITC available details. So let us see how this works on enComply. On enComply, first the user or the client is uploading his purchase data, and now using the post or get data options from GSTN, the user will be able to download the GSTR2A. Once the data is downloaded from GSTN network, the system automatically does a comparison with the purchases that was already uploaded into the system. Once the data is downloaded from GSTN, it will be compared to the data that is uploaded into enComply. Then a mismatch report will be generated and the user will be presented with the error records. So let us quickly pull the GSTR2A transactions by selecting Get Invoices from GSTN. You can get the invoices from GSTN by category. Currently, GSTN APIs which have been exposed on the sandbox environment support only by category. In the later versions, we can expect it to support all transactions at once. So let us select B2B transactions and pull the data. Once I selected B2B transactions, I can save and confirm. Once you save, the OTP is sent to the registered mobile number. In this case, Mr. Jitesh mobile number will be an OTP will be sent to a mobile number and you need to key in the OTP to make a secure transaction to GSTN portal. After you key in the OTP, you save and confirm, and when you click on validate, the data gets downloaded and a comparison will be made to the data that is already uploaded into enComply portal. So the data got downloaded from GSTN portal and a comparison is made. On the left hand side, you can see that there is one particular entity which is showing a cross mark and others are showing a tick mark. So let us go into the details of the cross mark. When I click on this, you can see that there are some error records in the data. Let us use the error records filter option to identify all the errors. Here we can see there are 3 error records. Seems like the third error record is at the item level and the 2 error records are at the header level. Let us go into the details of the errors. Click on individual record. The beauty of enComply lies here. Each error which has occurred, whatever mismatch has been there, is detailed along with clear description. So the description is available at the field level which has error now. Here you can see for invoice number so and so, IGST amount from registered taxpayer differs from value in the GST in common portal. So this means the data that you uploaded and the data that has been uploaded by your vendor is not matching with respect to the IGST amount. There could be either a human error or it could be some error in the ERP system. So you can choose to modify this, or you can choose to ignore this, or you can do an offline conversation with your vendor and finally take an action. Different types of actions are possible for a record. Let's look at this record at the item level. In case if you want to do some changes at the item level, you can go to the item details. Here in this particular invoice, we only have one item. And you can see the following actions can be taken on the invoice. You can either accept it, delete it, modify it, or you could put it in a pending state. So here in this particular error, I assume that the mistake is on my side and I am going to correct the IGST amount as stated in the error. And I am selecting modify, and the record got successfully uploaded. Similarly, let us have a look at the other error also. The second transaction is also having a similar error where the IGST amount is not right. So let us correct the IGST amount. And again I am selecting modify as the correction is on my side. Moving ahead to the third invoice. Here the error is not at the item level. Here the error is not at the header level. So let us look at the item level. You can see the item level is marked in red. Let us see the details. So this is an invoice transaction, new invoice transaction found from the GST portal. So this particular invoice was not uploaded by me, or it could be a duplicate invoice that is uploaded by my vendor. So if it's a duplicate invoice, you can choose to ignore and you can delete it. So I have corrected the 3 errors. Now I need to run the revalidations to ensure all the corrections have gone in rightly. If the corrections were done correctly, you will be able to move ahead through the workflow stages. So here you can see we successfully moved through the first 3 steps of the workflow. Finally, we have the review and approval step where you can generate the mismatch report and also the GSTR2 annexure reports. Whatever changes have been performed to the data will also be made available as a log. Here you can see the change log is available at a record level. So this was the change performed at the record level. All the details like at what time it was updated and at what time and on what date and who has updated it will be made available in the system. So this record logs can also be downloaded as a report. Finally, as everything looks good, I am going to accept it and generate the reports. Now you can see and download the GSTR2 report and also the mismatch report. Opening up the GSTR2 report, this is again exactly as per the government annexure which was provided in the GST law. And the mismatch report contains the details of the mismatches. Here you can see the reconciliation summary is provided and also the different schedules are given. You also have the data that is received from the common portal and the purchase ledger that you uploaded. So it is easier for the user to identify what mismatches were there, and they will also be able to correct the changes and carry them forward to their source system. Finally, we can go ahead and file GSTR2 with the correct data. Here again, you need to perform the e-signature procedure. When you save and confirm, an e-sign OTP will be sent to the registered mobile number. After keying in the OTP, save and confirm to generate the signed text. Once the signed text is generated, you can click on File GSTR2 to complete the filing. Once the filing is successfully done, you will be receiving an acknowledgement number. Here is the acknowledgement number that is received from GSTN Sandbox. After both the filings have been done, you can move ahead and file GSTR3, which is an auto-populated return. So for completing GSTR3 process, we need to upload the other ITC ledger and cash ledger also. So let us upload the cash ledger and other ledgers. Once these are uploaded, we can move ahead. Once these are uploaded, we can move ahead and file GSTR3. Once these are uploaded, we can move ahead and file GSTR3. GSTR3 is an auto-populated return, so you need not upload any data. Here, you have all the data in place. All the turnover details, outward supplies, interest rate details, every data is available in the consolidated return. So now, let us quickly run the validations to move ahead in the workflow. If there are any errors in the data, summary data, the system again identifies the errors. So here you can see we are not able to move further in the workflow because we have an error in the inward supplies interest rate details. So let us correct this information. The IGST amount is not matched with 34608, the rate of tax value. So let us correct this and save and confirm. And finally, let us do a revalidation. We were successfully able to validate the data. At last, accepting the data, you will be able to generate the GSTR3 report. As now the GSTN system is not live for GST3 filing, we are only showing you the data processing step. Once the GST3 APIs are live, we will be able to file GSTN3 as well. So here is the GSTR3 report, which is filled with the details that are necessary. So this is again the annexure provided by the government. This is how you will be able to process and file returns for any number of your clients. Additionally, you have many other features like dashboard and work queues. You have a central dashboard from where you will be able to easily manage your clients and look at their data. From a central dashboard, you can see what is the status of the compliance, how many requests are in process and how many requests are completed and how many filings have been performed. You get to view the customized tables where you can easily drag and drop to generate quick reports per organization or based on the status, and you can see which particular process has been stuck where. So you can also drill down these reports. You can also generate bar charts and heat maps to easily identify the issues at the organization level. Additionally, you have the tracker where you can search only for your particular client and you will be able to see what is the status of that particular client. On the dashboard, you also have the tax calendar on the right side where when you schedule events, you can schedule events and you can broadcast it to your clients so that your clients will be alerted for the tax calendar event. You additionally have the tax updates and notifications widget which are directly linked to GSTN portal. So whatever alerts and notifications are relayed will directly come to you onto your dashboard. And the other important feature is the work queue. Work queue acts like an inbox. This is an inbox specific to the client. So if you want to select one particular client like Bharat Steel, you will be able to see that Bharat Steel doesn't have any work queues. If you go into the location level, you can see that Bharat Steel Delhi has many work queues. That is, Jitesh and his team has 12 pending tasks to be performed on Bharat Steel Limited. So the users will be able to easily move to that particular task by opening the work queue message, which is very specific to the client, and they can start working on it by clicking here. Here you can see we have just completed this process. Like this particular work queue, which are very much specific to the clients, will help the team members of JVM consultant to collaborate and work together, and this will also ensure that they will not miss anything and they will ensure 100% compliance to their clients. So this is how enComply solves all the challenges of JVM consultants. Starting from collaborative features to secure transfer of data, everything is possible on this platform. You will be able to easily manage and serve your clients. And this platform is a highly scalable platform which has been tested for large volumes of data. So it will be very easier for you to manage huge volumes of data and huge number of clients using a single platform. With GST rollout date being finalized as 1st July, it's time to get ready and ensure compliance. So let's enComply. Thank you.